It has been a whirlwind first season for me and for this project that I'm calling Marketing the Magic. If you have watched any of our episodes, I truly, truly appreciate it. It has been a lot of fun exploring and beginning to get a feel for how I want this community to work and the kind of ways that I want to present the lessons that I've uncovered in marketing inspired by Disney. And so today, what we're going to do for the very last episode of Season 1 is we're going to recap all the things we talked about during Season 1. And then I'm very excited to give you a sneak peek at what Season 2 is going to be all about. So that's what we're going to cover today. Welcome to Marketing the Magic. In case you don't know me yet, I am John Delancey, the head Disney nut and marketing aficionado here at Marketing the Magic. I created this community for small business owners who want a better grasp on marketing strategy and tactics, and we accomplish this through lessons inspired by the Walt Disney Company, including the theme parks and the movies and the merchandising and a whole bunch of other stuff. Before I get into the Season 1 recap, I want to dive into that subject just a little bit further, is why I created this community. And it's because I happen to run a marketing agency in addition to, a bunch of stuff. But marketing factors prominently in my professional life. And marketing is not easy to get a handle on. But more importantly than that, I see so many small business owners and solo business owners that don't do anything proactive about their marketing because it is so complex. They're relying on word of mouth or street traffic or whatever it might be, but the problem with that, relying on those things, is that you don't have control over your business and over the growth of your business if you don't have control over your marketing strategy. So if you are the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, I am positive that I have very little that I can teach you because you probably have a CMO that covers all this stuff for you, and you focus on connecting the dots. But for the thousands and thousands of small business owners out there who are doing this thing alone, or they're doing it with very small teams, and they're just trying to figure out their way through to growing their business to make everybody happy, marketing is not easy to understand, and it's often ignored. And so that's why I created this project, because I began to find that as I solidified my understanding of marketing principles and strategy and tactics and how to put all these things together, as I was learning those things, I discovered that there was some context missing. I knew that Facebook was over here and Facebook did that, and that Twitter was over there and Twitter did that, and that there was blogging and that there was SEO and that there was AdWords and all the different things that play into digital marketing in particular. And that's before you get into direct mail and billboards and radio and TV and all of those different things. And so, like I said, I was missing that context. And then I began discovering the rich history of the Walt Disney Company and how they grew. And then I began to focus in on how Disney does marketing. And so suddenly all of these pieces came together. I was able to apply that context that I was missing and figure out how storytelling really works in a marketing context. And so Marketing the Magic was born. Now, over the next month, I've got a major announcement that's coming up that I'll be making about this project. I'm extremely excited about it. I had hoped to be able to introduce it during this season, but things, as they often do, get delayed. But this project is not just going to be me talking on a camera for 30 minutes every Wednesday. There's a whole lot more that I want to do with this, that I am going to do with this, that I truly believe is going to help a lot of business owners figure out how to grow their businesses with sound marketing strategy and principles inspired by Disney. So with that, I'm going to quit rambling, and we're just going to get into the Season 1 recap. So what did we actually talk about over the last 12 weeks of this initial debut season? So the very first episode was on the importance of storytelling in marketing, and I could not think of a better first topic. The reason to put it in a nutshell, that the reason that storytelling is so important in marketing is because the modern consumer or business decision maker is way too smart, and they're way too easily distracted by all of the other noise online and offline as well, for us to rely on the old blast it and pray kind of marketing. That doesn't do us any good at all anymore. Yeah, you might make a sale or two here or there, but it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be profitable. And so we need to turn to storytelling to make connections with our potential customers, to convince them that our company is the one that they need to turn to solve whatever their problem is. Disney is obviously the master of storytelling in everything, including in their marketing, and we'll talk more about that here as we go into some of these other episodes that we've had this season. By the way, before I continue, if you can hear the weed eater behind me, I'm so sorry. I'm in an office in a busy town, and I'm pretty sure that my neighbor is weed eating his entire backyard. I have no idea why. But if you can hear it, I apologize. I hope the noise is not too unbearable. If you can't, then just ignore that. But getting back to what we were talking about, storytelling is absolutely critical, and Disney offers us example after example after example of how to tell stories effectively. And my goal with this project is to teach you how to use those storytelling techniques to improve your marketing, to understand and to improve your marketing. Now, episodes 2 and 3 were a lot of fun, and they were also very foundational episodes that I needed to get in the can, so to speak. And they covered Mickey's 10 Commandments in 2 parts. So we covered 5 commandments in each of those 2 episodes. These commandments that were written by Marty Sklar originally for the Imagineers to help them keep in mind how they do what they do. These 10 Commandments are amazing as a foundation for understanding correct marketing strategy. So the commandments were things like know your audience and tell one story at a time and create a visual weenie. Did I intrigue you with that? Well, you'll have to go back to episodes 2 and 3 to learn what in the world I'm talking about when I say create a visual weenie. But it was they were great episodes, a lot of fun. And again, they're very foundational. They're very easy to remember. You can print them out and stick them up on your wall or on your corkboard to remind you whenever you think about marketing of those 10 foundational principles that we must keep in mind to help us create effective marketing. Now, episode number 4 is one of my very favorite topics in marketing, and it was how to identify your ideal customer using a tool called buyer personas. This speaks directly to that very first commandment from Marty Sklar, which is to know your audience. If you in business are trying to be all things to all people, you are destined to fail. Unless you are Amazon or Google, and even then, they're not all things to all people, but they do try to serve all people. But they have billions and billions of dollars that they can use to establish that kind of market share. So if you have billions and billions of dollars, maybe you will be effective trying to reach all people. But for all of the rest of the 99% of we business owners, we don't have that kind of money or those kinds of resources to be able to have that kind of an effect. So we have to identify who our ideal customer is and focus our marketing on that ideal customer. This is one of the most critical components of any marketing strategy today. And I would argue that it's the same thing for those Amazons and Googles. They still have to identify who their ideal customer is and make sure that they are reaching that ideal customer effectively. So in this episode, in episode number 4 for this season, we talked about all of that, and we gave some tools for how to actually go about identifying your ideal customer, how to research who that might be, and detail who those people are, and then weave those details into a story, into a narrative that explains who your ideal customer is to you and to your teams, so that everybody knows this is who we serve, and this is who our marketing will be written to. That was a great episode, and part of next season we'll be going into more detail about that, and I'll actually have some really cool tools and things that I'll be able to give you to work with to help you more easily identify those ideal customers for your business. Now, episode 5 was a fun episode. This was on a featured Disney marketing professional from Disney's history. And this very first edition or episode in that series was on Jack Lindquist. If you have ever studied Disney business or Disney history, you have probably heard Jack Lindquist's name. He was a massive factor in Disney's success, particularly during the 80s when Michael Eisner and Frank Wells came into the company and took over. But even before that and throughout his entire career, Jack Lindquist was the epitome of a marketer, of a marketing professional. His outside-the-box thinking and his way of getting things done, just getting them done, so that they were extremely effective is unparalleled. We talked about some of his great campaigns, including Donald Duck's 50th birthday, which we talked about in depth last week, and we'll go into in just a moment. Then he later did Mickey's 60th birthday, which featured Mickey in the cornfield, which we talked about in this episode. And then perhaps the most audacious campaign that Jack Lindquist promulgated at Disney was Disneyland's 30th anniversary celebration. This was a year-long celebration and featured as its most central campaign the Gift Giver Extraordinaire. And this was set up so that every, I think, 300th, 3,000th, 300,000th, 1,000th, and 3 millionth maybe, guests to Disneyland during the celebration received some crazy gifts, including over 400 General Motors cars that Disney gave away to Disneyland guests during the course of that year. And that was just for walking through the gates. It was a truly remarkable promotion and pushed Disneyland to record attendance that year. So fantastic episode to go back and review, not because I was amazing, but because Jack Lindquist was amazing. And there's so much that we can learn from him. Now, episode 6 was a fun one, and it was titled Prince Philip or Wall-E, What Kind of Hero is Your Company? So as we think about incorporating storytelling techniques and elements into our marketing strategies, one of the featured protagonists in every story, or most stories, is the hero of the story. And for our marketing, we, as the company owners, business owners, our businesses are the heroes. We are the ones who save our customers from whatever problem they're facing, whether they just got into a car accident or they just want to have a magical theme park experience. Our companies are the heroes. Now, the first thing we need to identify in using that idea in our marketing is what kind of hero we are. So are we the Prince Philip that comes in at the last minute and saves the day, or are we more like Wall-E, who's there all along, creating relationships and doing our job well and being effective and valuable before the customer ever actually needs us? So that is critical to understand, because knowing the difference, knowing which of those two we fit into, or if we're a kind of hybrid of the two, has a huge impact on what kind of marketing strategy or communication channels are going to be most effective for our businesses. So definitely check that episode out if you haven't already, because it is, again, paramount to understanding what types of strategies are going to be the most effective for our businesses. Episode 7, we talked about one of my very favorite Disney marketing campaigns, and that was the I'm Going to Disney World campaign. You have seen this, I can just about guarantee. Disney's been doing it for more than 30 years. They tie it to major sporting events like the Super Bowl and the World Series and all kinds of different sporting events like that. What they do is they go to the VIPs, or not VIPs, the MVPs, the most valuable players in those sporting events, and get them to say on camera, what are you doing next? And they say, I'm going to Disney World and I'm going to Disneyland. And they use that in this beautiful promotion that features When You Wish Upon a Star and moves through the highs and the lows of the game that was just won, and truly great marketing. And there were a couple of lessons a few lessons rather that we can take from those. And the first is to look at it as inspiration. We can incorporate a complete story into even very short marketing creatives. So ad campaigns or landing pages or blog posts or whatever it is. In Disney's case with this campaign, they were able to tell a complete story in just a few seconds, frankly, in these commercial ad spots that they were running. And the second lesson we can take from this is to be ready when inspiration strikes. What do I mean by that? Okay, so and we talk about this in detail in that episode, of course, but the idea for this campaign came over dinner one night, and within 2 weeks, they aired the first of these I'm Going to Disney World ad spots after a Super Bowl. That was remarkable. That is remarkable regardless of the time that this took place in, the era that this took place in. But when you think about the fact that this was before the internet, this was before digital video, this was before satellite upload even, and the fact that they were able to take this from a concept that came up over dinner to a featured finished product in just a couple of weeks was remarkable. And so we need to be ready. Take that as another inspiration. We need to be ready when inspiration strikes to take on that new marketing idea and run with it. And I've got examples left and right from my own business from how we've done that. I just had an idea a week ago for a new marketing campaign for one of my companies. And last night I was up till 1 a.m. getting the code written and the marketing campaign put together and the landing page built and the ad campaign built because I was so inspired by it and I was so ready to get it out there. I attacked it and made it happen, and we'll see if it works. I don't know if it will. I hope it will. I think it will. But the point is, be ready when it strikes and snatch those opportunities out of the air before they get away from you. And the third lesson from the I'm Going to Disney World campaign was that campaigns can live a lot longer than we think they will sometimes. Again, this campaign has lasted more than 30 years. Now, it's not been identical every single time. Obviously, every game is different. Every MVP is different, but they've tweaked it a little bit over the years. But it's because they invested so much into it and really found a message that works, that gets people's attention. And so they haven't stopped. When that campaign stops being effective, they'll stop running it. So don't think that you have to just constantly create new ideas and concepts and marketing tactics and approaches again and again and again, over and over into perpetuity. You don't. You will do that to some degree. You'll always find new things that you want to try, but you will also find those marketing campaigns that are just perfectly effective and that you can run over and over again, possibly tweaking, over time, and then as it becomes a little bit less effective, you'll want to tweak it some more, but you'll be able to rely on those campaigns for steady, expectable profit. And I love that about the I'm Going to Disney World campaign. Now, moving on, episode 8 of this season, we talked about lessons on message match inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean. This was another fun episode. I loved this episode because Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my very favorite everythings from Disney. The theme park attractions, the movies, I just love Pirates. And the lesson that we drew in this case was about message match. So making sure that the images and the copy that we use in our advertising match the images and copy in our landing pages and creates that instant feeling of trust with our audience, with our potential customers. And that's what Pirates is so amazing. One of the things that is so amazing about Pirates, rather, if we look starting at the original attractions and then how those attractions inspired the movies and how the movies incorporated elements from those attractions so that when somebody sat down to watch the very first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, even though there were new characters and a new storyline, they instantly knew this is the Pirates of the Caribbean that I know and love. And then from the movies that then reinforced the rides. They brought elements of the movies, Captain Jack Sparrow and the villains from each movie, into the Pirates of the Caribbean attractions, so that people who started by seeing the Pirates movies could go then ride the attractions and be inspired and feel that sense of trust, just like the people who started from the rides and then went and saw the movies. And then the rides and movies inspired a whole new ride experience at Shanghai Disneyland, because the people at Shanghai Disneyland, the audience in Shanghai Disneyland, when they were testing this idea, they'd never seen the original attractions. All they knew about Pirates of the Caribbean was the movie franchise. So they created a whole new ride experience based exclusively on the movie franchise, rather than incorporate another iteration of the original theme park attractions. That's how we need to look at message match and creating trust in our audience, by making sure that our campaigns are cohesive, that they tell the same story. So, fantastic episode. I highly recommend that one for anyone who didn't catch it. Moving right along, episode 9 was about hub and spoke marketing. I love this one as well. We can look to the way all of the Disney theme parks, or most of the Disney theme parks, are laid out in this hub and spoke model, where there's a center point of focus, which is where that visual weenie usually comes into play. And from that hub, we have spokes leading out to whole other areas of activity. And likewise, in our marketing, we can use this model to look at how our marketing strategies play out. So we can consider, in most cases, our websites to be the hub of our marketing activity. And from our website, we'll have spokes that lead out to different areas of activity or marketing efforts that we're undertaking. So that might be social media is one spoke, or even Facebook could be one spoke by itself. And there's no one correct model here. It has to be adapted to your business and your marketing strategy. But then another spoke might be search advertising or search marketing, and then we might have direct mail over in a different corner, and then we might have content marketing in a corner. That with all of each of which is a spoke leading both to and from our hub. So it's a fantastic way to visualize our overall marketing strategy, to make sure that each of those spokes is getting the attention that it needs. It's just a great tool that we can use to build more cohesive marketing strategies. Episode 10 was on delighting our customers the Disney way. And this is another one of my very favorite topics, because customer service is absolutely paramount to a marketing strategy today. It is critical. It is a type of marketing in and of itself, because what happens if you have fantastic customer service is that you end up delighting your customers to the extent that they become evangelists for your brand. They go out and tell their friends and their family and their colleagues that when they have the same problem that your customer did, they need to go to you to solve it. It is remarkable how effective that kind of marketing can be. So we talked about how to ensure that we are delighting our customers. And of course, having the great products and services is part of that, but specific to marketing, we talked about, for example, how to make sure that our websites are structured in a way that they are designed to delight our customers. It is at once simple and also very complex and difficult to get this exactly right. But we talked about how to do that for our websites. And then we talked about how we can know that we are or are not delighting our customers. And the primary tool we can use to do that is the use of surveys. And if you have ever been to a Disney theme park, you know that Disney loves surveys. I mean, loves surveys. And there's a good reason for that, because it gives them quantifiable feedback that they can use to analyze what they're doing and what they could do better, or to test a new idea that they're thinking about implementing. They know at all times whether they are delighting or failing to delight their customers on everything from food service to merchandising to the attractions to the hotel stays, everything. They know because they ask. And we can do the same thing. So we talked about how to use surveys to make sure that we're delighting our customers. And finally, for our regular episodes of this season, we talked last week about another of my very favorite Disney marketing campaigns, it wasn't exclusively a Disney marketing campaign, but it kind of was. And that was Donald Duck's 50th birthday. Kicked off by a 4-day, 14-airport tour, a plane stop tour, where they literally rented a 727 jet, painted it for Donald's 50th birthday, and then flew Donald and crew, including Clarence Ducky Nash, the original voice of Donald Duck. They flew him around to 14 different airports in 4 days and held events at all those. And then this was a super massive campaign. There were all kinds of promotions that they included for Donald's 50th, including special merchandise and a parade in every day in the theme parks. And there were books and film festivals and all kinds of things that were brought into play to celebrate Donald Duck's 50th birthday. The two lessons that we talked about that we can learn from Donald's 50th birthday are critical. And the first was to always remember your story and the stories that you're trying to tell to and about your customers, your ideal customers specifically. And where we can draw inspiration here is that they didn't just decide on a whim to put Donald on a plane that was painted, for him, and then go fly around and wave and go home. This whole idea was based on Donald Duck's character, not just this character named Donald Duck that Disney happens to have, but the character that they developed for Donald Duck. Donald Duck is all about one-upsmanship. He's all about outdoing Mickey Mouse. And so for Mickey Mouse's 50th birthday, a few years previously, Mickey had a train tour, a whistle-stop train tour around the country. And so, of course, Donald had to one-up Mickey Mouse, so he had a plane tour. He got a 727 jet, not some old-fashioned steam train. But that's what I mean about remembering your story and incorporating it into your marketing. Don't just create a marketing campaign. Don't just go out and say, come buy my stuff. No, we have to remember our story. We have to tell the story about how our company can solve our ideal customers' problems. And the second lesson that we can draw from Donald Duck's 50th birthday that we talked about last week was to always look for the unexpected ideas. So it ties well with the I'm Going to Disney World campaign and being ready to pounce on ideas. But look for those unexpected opportunities. So in particular, for Donald Duck's 50th birthday, the unexpected opportunity I was referring to was the idea, and I've just completely blanked on who came up with it. Not important. But the idea that came up for training 50 live ducks. Charlie Ridgway, that's who it was. Haha, I remembered. Charlie Ridgway came up with the idea to train 50 live ducks to follow Donald Duck around in the parades. I mean, it was just a fantastic idea, but it came out of the blue. I mean, this wasn't something they planned for from day one on this campaign. It was just an inspiration that struck. And so they pursued it, and it worked, and it was beautiful, and it was effective. But it's because Disney creates the atmosphere in which these unexpected creative ideas can come. And they are ready when those unexpected ideas come to take them on and to make them work. They made that work, and we can too. So that was the second lesson that we can learn from Donald Duck's 50th birthday, and that wraps up our recap of the very first season of the Marketing the Magic show. So what's next? Well, we're taking not really a break, but for the month of June, we're going to have much lighter topics that we talk about. They're gonna be much less intensive and focused on specific lessons that we can learn. And part of that is because June is my busiest month of the year for one of my clients, and it always is. I'm going to be exhausted through much of the month. You will probably see that in the bags, the bigger bags under my eyes. And so I don't want to try to also focus on highly intensive lessons for the month of June. So starting in the month of July, we will begin season 2. And during June, we'll just have some lighter discussions. But are you ready for the season 2 preview? So what we're going to be talking about for season 2 of the Marketing the Magic show is inbound marketing. And I am terribly excited about it. Inbound marketing is my specialty, I guess, as a marketing agency owner. I absolutely love it. It is a fantastic philosophy that we can incorporate and a strategy that we can use in our businesses when it's the right fit. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about. Is when is inbound a good fit for a business? Because it's not always. It's not always the most ideal. And I had to learn that the hard way. I tried to make inbound work as the exclusive strategy for one of my businesses, and it just wasn't the right fit as the only strategy. Direct response can still be very effective. And in some cases, it's the only thing that's going to be very effective. Unless you're willing to wait a very long time and spend a whole lot of effort and money to make inbound work. So that's just one of the things we'll be talking about. And to give you a little bit of a teaser, I've got the first show planned out. And so the first episode of season 2 of the Marketing the Magic show covering inbound marketing will be called Disney Inbounding. Inbound marketing defined. So we're going to take this concept. If you are a big Disney fan, you probably know about Disney inbound, or Disney bounding rather. This is the super fans of Disney who will dress up as lightly themed anyway, Disney characters when they go to the parks. Even celebrities like John Stamos do this. So you can't dress in full costume, but they will dress in character-inspired outfits and then go to the parks and just to add to their joyful experiences. So we're going to talk about how we can turn to these Disney bounders to help us understand what inbound marketing is all about. So I am seriously excited to get into season 2. Again, this is my kind of forte in marketing. I love everything about inbound marketing because it plays so well into story-driven marketing strategy. It is the epitome of story-driven marketing strategy. So I hope if you have heard that buzzword before and you've been wondering what in the world is inbound marketing, I hope that you will join us for season 2 starting the first week of July of this year. So in just over a month, or right at a month rather. I hope you will join us for season 2 of Marketing the Magic, because we're going to go in depth into inbound marketing, and we will come to understand what it is and how we can make it effective through, as always, lessons inspired by the Walt Disney Company. And that is going to wrap up today's episode and this first season of the Marketing the Magic show. If you have caught any episode that I've put out, or if you've caught every episode that I've put out, I truly appreciate you. It is for you, my audience, that I create this, that I spend this time and this effort really diving into lessons that hopefully help you to better understand your marketing, to better understand marketing strategy, how it works most effectively. I truly appreciate you for watching even the first second of my ugly mug on camera. To that end, if you have ideas for how I could be more effective at helping you to understand marketing strategy, or if you have specific questions about marketing, I hope that you will let me know. because those are the questions that I want to answer. I want to make sure that I'm helping you in the most effective way possible. So let me know. You can email me at john@marketingthemagic.com. You can visit marketingthemagic.com and use the contact form on that page. But I want to hear from you. I want to know how I can be more effective at helping you understand marketing strategy. And with that, we're going to close things down on season 1 of Marketing the Magic. I hope that you have had a wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I will see you real soon. Thank you for watching.